Jamaica is renowned for producing glamorous Miss World winners, reggae music stars, but one of its leading business stars is rapidly transforming the face and lifestyle of Jamaica. I'm Penny Lane, and In the Driver's Seat starts now. John Bailey is more than a major property developer and businessman here in Jamaica. He's a supporter of local film, the former president of Tennis Jamaica, encouraging more local kids into the sport. He works with teens with addiction and is actively involved in saving the beautiful coral reefs and fish life around Jamaica. John Bailey, welcome to In the Driver's Seat.
Thank you. Great to be here with you.
Now, what is it about Jamaica that drives your passion?
Why, Penny, everything. I tell everybody it's a special place, you know. The people, first of all, and then the beautiful country. And I'd live nowhere else.
And tell us a little bit about your early life. Was you born here in Jamaica?
No, I was born in Puerto Rico. My dad came to Jamaica in the 50s with the Royal Bank of Canada. Met my mom. They got married. My mom is a Jamaican, long-standing Jamaican family. And then the bank sent my dad to Puerto Rico, where I was born. Yeah.
And who was your biggest influence growing up? Was your dad one of those?
Well, my dad was a banker, but
yeah.
I was never taken to banking. I would say my grandfather, who was a well-known attorney and businessman to himself, his son, my uncle, and then ultimately, more recently, my father-in-law, the late Danny Williams, who was probably one of Jamaica's most outstanding business people.
Was he really?
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, I mean, many ways, but he formed in the early, I think, like 1970, the first sort of indigenous life insurance business in Jamaica.
Oh, yeah.
At the time, it was called Life of Jamaica. But he's well known. He's a great guy. He's mentored a lot of people, including myself. And I have gone on now to be mentoring people. And before he passed, we were involved in two startups that we helped to, you know, capitalize and mentor them and have board meetings and then launch them onto the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the junior market.
Originally, you were bound for Canada to go to college, but meeting your wife was like a sliding doors moment. Tell us a little bit about that, and how did it change your direction?
Well, yeah, so after graduating from high school, I had gone to a private high school in Toronto, just outside Toronto, St. Andrews College. And my uncle asked me to come and work with him that summer in Montego Bay. And I had been accepted to a university in Canada, in Ontario, Queen's University. So when my uncle offered me this job, I thought it was a no-brainer, you know. There is a 19-year-old guy having the opportunity to work in a resort in Montego Bay. And when I looked on that and compared it to going to university, I obviously took that opportunity. And I lived with him, I had a great time. And by the way, he was a mentor to me too. He was a great businessman, entrepreneur, and everything. And I had a great year with them too. Tony Hart was his name.
After studying business administration at the South Florida University, you returned to Jamaica. Were you ever tempted to strike a career in the USA?
Never.
Why?
It just, every holiday, I'd come back to Jamaica. My mind was so focused on, you know, taking part of the whole business landscape here and making my own path. And it just never, and I could have stayed in America. I could have gone back to Canada because I have all three passports. I have US passport, I have a Canadian passport, and I have a Jamaican passport. So I could have. But it never, Penny, entered my mind. I promise you. When I came back, I worked with Jamaica Broilers, the largest agribusiness probably company in the island. Certainly, well, I would say certainly Jamaica, the largest poultry producer, and they did other things too. They had started a fish division where I was employed, and they did cattle and various things, you know. So that, and then like a couple of years after joining them, I started their export company. And I started to export their produce to the UK, Sainsbury's.
Oh, yeah?
We worked with Sainsbury's. and other distributors. So I would say that I was in my 20s then, and we were elected that year champion exporter of Jamaica, and that was a great feather in our cap. And we had a great team, a small team, but we made a big wave, you know.
And how did you move from that into construction?
So, same Danny Williams and two others of my brother-in-laws had purchased this business called Virginia Dare. It's a food business, making food flavors, colors, and stuff. And those things, our products got put into, our finished goods were raw materials for all the food processors in Jamaica.
Oh, right.
So like patties,
yes,
the color of the pastry, that's our color. We deal with Red Stripe. We deal with...
Who doesn't know Red Stripe?
Right, I'm naming the ones you'd know. Grace Kennedy, you've probably heard of.
Yes.
True Juice. And so how I transitioned from that now, a great friend of mine from Canada called me one day and said, John, I've bought into this company and we're making this asphalt coal mix. I said, Greg, I'm in the food business, give me a break. And he wouldn't stop. And one day we're taking our family up to Toronto and we're going to the Toronto Zoo. And he lives near there. He said, John, I wanted to come and look at this product. So he hijacked me on the way to the zoo. And it was raining, I'll never forget it. It was raining and he brought home a few of these bags of asphalt coal mix. And he went into a plaza and he found some potholes and he repaired the potholes in the rain. And it blew my mind.
Wow.
And I said, wow, what is this? Jamaica is full of potholes. You guys all know that, right? And so I said, wow, this thing could be interesting. So I set up the meetings with the various people here. And at the time, the Minister of Works in Jamaica was a guy called Roger Clark, a dynamic guy. And we set up a demonstration in a nearby street to my office. And the guy is so dynamic, he's stopping, we're patching potholes, we throw water in the potholes and he's patching them and we're patching them and he's stopping traffic. You see this? And the guy ordered there 1,500 tons.
Wow.
On the spot. And so that's how I got into construction.
Yeah.
And the team that I started with back then, the core team, they're still with me right now. They're in a job right now for me. That's like 20 years ago.
I would imagine the construction industry, you'd have a lot of challenges. What's the hardest challenges that you have to overcome and how do you handle them?
Well, on the construction side is finding the right people.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, that's just business, right? And life and relationship is finding the right fit. One of the key things for me was working with a professional landscape architect out of the United States. And the guy really radicalized how I thought and how I...
In what way?
Because he flipped the whole thing and says, before you just start designing a house and stuff, right? You got to take the land and look what's on the land, how you'd situate what you want to build on the land and start there. Don't do it the other way. Don't say, this is what I want to build, let's fit it here. And and we don't do that much in Jamaica. In the States, they do it a lot. They start with the architecture, the land architecture,
yeah,
you know, and how that works. And that's really what really transformed how I view things, that guy.
You really are changing the shape of Jamaica, aren't you?
Well, I don't know about that, but you know what? The projects we have done have been highly acclaimed and you know, we're pretty proud of them.
What do you do to relax?
Sports.
Sport.
It is the greatest medicine. You know, one day I was talking to, I think I was getting an annual medical, and I said, boy, the sports is what does it for me, you know. And he said, John, if we could find a tablet that could give you the results for exercise and sports, you know, you'd be well off.
That would be, yeah.
But it's that, you know, it's a great, it's not only for your physical, I find,
yeah,
and even talking with people, I think that it's not a unique thing to me. It's a great stress reliever. It's just...
Keeping active.
Yeah.
And would you say that's been one of the biggest keys to your success?
I think so, you know. I mentioned going to a private boarding school in Canada. And I tell everybody the only thing that kept me there was sports. Because, you know, those schools are so intense with activities and team sports and the hype, and you're going to travel to different parts of the country to chat, you know, that's what kept me there. The school where I was an average student. If I didn't...
I doubt it.
If I didn't have sports, I don't think I'd have made it through there, though.
Yeah.
You know, being in a foreign country, it's cold half the year. What does a Caribbean guy want to do up there? You know, it was really the sports and the camaraderie coming out of that.
Do you think you would have achieved the same level of success if you weren't in Jamaica?
It's hard to say, Penny. You know, but you know what? I love Jamaica so much, and I'm so comfortable here. Grown up here all my life, so maybe not.
Yeah.
Because I think part of that passion is what drives me, and
Yes.
I'm not sure I would have that. I'm not sure I would have that in any other place. You know,
Yeah.
let me just say that. But that's a difficult question to answer, honestly.
For anybody coming up in business, is there one piece of advice that you would share with them, or is there any advice that you've been given that was just really on the money?
Well, I think fundamentally, right, you got to have the right team. You know, you really have to. You could have the best concept and the best plan and ideas, right? You don't have the right people around you, and you know, planning, brainstorming, executing. It's not going to work. There are parts of it I don't like, especially on the construction side, the development side.
The red tape or something else.
The red tape, oh my goodness, it's an issue. And it's an issue. You talk to anybody in Jamaica, and not only Jamaica, you know. So I think, you know, those are the things you have to navigate, though, eh? Life is like that.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not always going to be smooth, is it?
No.
Sadly,
no.
I can't believe that we're out of time. I could talk to you all day. I feel like I could learn so much from you, John. You're such a lovely man. Yeah. And thank you so much for joining me on In the Driver's Seat.
A pleasure, Penny. Thank you.
In the Driver's Seat is proudly brought to you by the Perfect Cosmetics Company. You're watching Ticker, and we'll be right back.